it could be way worse. It has been way worse. And, high of only 91 today. Really not bad.
And sometimes, some people say comparison is a thief of joy, okay? But sometimes you need to make some comparisons.
Well, yeah, absolutely so. I mean, the last couple summers were just brutal here in North Texas. And it had been really, before that, we had actually had, a lot of people forget that we had had actually kind of a decent streak of not so terrible summers around here. People always talk about how brutal the summer is. The last couple summers, yes, were brutal. But before that, it really hadn't been all that bad. So if you say that every summer is like last summer or the summer before that, you got some recency bias sneaking in, because really they weren't that bad going back to 2021 and back to 2020. I'll show you a little bit more on that in a second. This time last year, this day last year, we hit 102. Tomorrow we hit 104, and by the end of the month, it was all the way up to 105. Remember how many highs at or above 105 we had last year? It was just brutal. Today we've had 8 triple-digit days so far this summer season. Where we'll end up, well, remains to be seen. At this point, we'd seen 16, but that just goes to show you how hot the end of July and all of August and even into September was. We ended up with 55. We had quite a few more in 2022 at this point in the summer. We had 29, and we ended up with 47. Remember, what shut down that summer was all the flooding that we had in the kind of mid to late August. That's what shut down the heat for that summer. 2021, yeah, wasn't bad. We didn't have any triple-digit days at this point in the summer. We ended up with 8, and back in 2020, we only had 2 at this point in the summer. We ended up with 9. So yeah, a bit of a recency bias there if you think every single summer is like the one that we had last year or the year before that. In fact, if I went back even farther over the last 10 years or so, most of the summers really haven't been too terrible, besides obviously last year and the year before that. This July so far, we did start off with a streak of triple digits. Had a brief cool down, then it was back to above normal, but we've had 8 days in a row now of below normal temperatures. That looks to continue through this weekend. That puts us just a little below normal for the month. The first part of the month, because we had all those above normal days, kind of offsets the last 8 that we've had in a row. So far, we're only 0.2 below normal for the entire month. Certainly not a record cool July or anything like that. The heat will return, though, as we head into August. High pressure, that heat dome's moved out to the west, but it'll start to sneak back closer to us by the end of the weekend. And by the early part of next week, toward the middle part of next week, it'll start to entrench itself back overhead, which means those triple digits will likely return in August. Well, it's looking like a typical August here in North Texas at this point. A few spotty showers across eastern North Texas over the next couple hours. All this will fizzle out as we lose the heat of the day, so most of you will be dry as we head through the late night hours and into tomorrow morning. Some patchy fog possible to start the day tomorrow, but most of you will be dry. Then as we hit the heat of the day, some of those showers and storms will bubble up once again. Highest coverage will be across eastern areas over to East Texas and Louisiana, but can't rule out a spotty shower storm pretty much anywhere in North Texas during the afternoon and evening hours, but most of you will stay dry. It's a 20% coverage for DFW, lower coverage to the west, but that coverage kind of ramps up somewhat quickly as you head off to the east and to the southeast. By the time you hit Henderson County and Athens, it's a 40% coverage, higher coverage for areas like Jacksonville, Longview, and especially over into Louisiana. And that's basically, that pattern repeats itself through the weekend. 20-30% coverage across the area, best chances across the eastern part of North Texas, and that's why highest totals of rain through the weekend expected across the eastern part of North Texas. It's a tenth, maybe a quarter of an inch for the DFW area, and that's just really counting on you being underneath the thunderstorm with its 20 to 30% coverage through the weekend. Not everybody is going to see a tenth to a quarter of an inch. Quite a few of you will stay dry through the end of the weekend, but it's not impossible for you to pick up a quick tenth to a quarter of an inch if you find yourself underneath the storm. Patchy fog tonight, light winds and muggy, 73 for the low. Tomorrow, those isolated thunderstorms, 90 for my high, so yet another below normal day. Below normal again on Friday with highs only in the 80s. Below normal Saturday, Sunday, just barely below normal on Monday. Normal highs 97, so 96 on Monday would still be below normal. And then there you go. Remember, I showed you that high starting to move back toward North Texas. Those temps climb through the end of the month. 98 Tuesday, 99 for the last day of July, and then there are those triple digits to start August. It's hot, it's dry, exactly like we expect for an August here in North Texas.